Unfiltered band, which means yes, another episode of Unfiltered coming your way right here and now. You can jump on board the Unfiltered Revolution anytime you want. Number of ways. Get in on Twitter at Casey Stern. Get into the bio. Jump on board the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and check out all the 196 now plus episodes into this 197. And, of course, where most of you are listening to us along the way, and that is on your podcast, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else where you get them. And thank you, Unfiltered Band. As today I delve into and pay off a top 10 list that we started a year ago to the day on Independence Day on July 4th, shortly after I started this podcast. At the time, I did the top 10 kind of fireworks athletes of my lifetime, a personal list, which I'll get into kind of what some of those were and why. And today I'm going to give you my personalized top 10 fireworks athletes, current day, today, as we speak. I want to hear from you. Who would be in your top 10? Where's my list wrong? Who would be your number one? What's the stop on a dime appointment view number one athlete for you in all sports today, where you are, for what matters to you, for what makes you tick? And these are all personalized lists. Get at me at Casey Stern. Jump into the comments on YouTube. DM me, reply on Twitter, get in any way you can, and I want to hear your list, obviously, along the way. We are here in every way because of our good friends at BetOnline, and we always remind you about them because BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to get all your wagers, live betting, favorite casino, and card games available to play right from your phone. So head to the website or use your mobile device right now. Sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE. It's BLEAV. Get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's BetOnline, where the game starts as I get started here. So what does this all mean, these fireworks athletes? Well, first of all, everything about this list, which is why lists like this are great, and they're great fodder, and then they're terrible because everybody hates you and your list is wrong no matter what it is. I see lists all the time, just like all of you, and I'm like, wow, that person's an idiot, a moron, they don't know what they're doing. And then you try and realize, okay, these are personalized lists from where they are. Maybe it's in their top 10 sandwiches, to go ahead and they like chopped liver. Maybe that's their thing, all right? Maybe that's what they like to eat. Whatever it may be, whatever your list is, whatever your cup of tea is in sports, when I'm talking fireworks, I'm talking about the appointment view. The folks who, whether it's on, the ice, the court, the field, whatever sport they play, you absolutely got to watch those dudes play that sport. You cannot miss it. You're trying to watch it live, even in a day and age where you can get snippets online on social media, or you can get it delayed and find out highlights. You don't want highlights because you don't want to be late to the party, because that is a party. That's an appointment view. There are fireworks coming from the play. It also may be because fireworks are coming from what they say, and because of how they are on social media, or because of their charisma, and sometimes not all that good. But it depends on what it means to you. But really, that fireworks is that excitement, that you're gravitating towards that person and that entity because there's something about it that just speaks to you. Now, about a year ago, when we started this podcast on July 4th, I did one that was my top 10 all-time fireworks guys for me. And I want to know, obviously, who your guys are, past and present. Again, get me on Twitter at Casey Stern. Jump in the YouTube comments to do that. Guys who came to mind for me on that list, my lifetime, and I'm in my mid-40s. And I think, when you're thinking about all-time, you've got to think about people that you watched. I don't want to hear, it's like, so some 19-year-old, Yankee fan, even nowadays, think about, now this makes me feel old, talking about like the Derek Jeter days. Well, that was before you, right? I mean, you're too young to really experience the 90s because you weren't here. You weren't around. I'm not going to tell you about the excitement of Sandy Koufax and Bob Gibson or Willie Mays. I can tell you how great they were. The 69 Mets, Tom Seaver, in all his Met lore during all those years, or Nolan Ryan during the Met days. I can tell you the back end of the career, but I wasn't there for the beginning. So it's, to me, what you lay your eyes on and really what you gravitate to. The guys for me that stand out to give you a sense of this category, and I'm going to go through my list. In terms of all time, Bo Jackson, who to me is the greatest athlete that I've ever seen in terms of what he was able to do. Ricky Henderson, who was a guy who was an appointment view in everything that he did. Ricky being Ricky, clearly the speed and the athleticism and everything he did with all the stolen bases and just the charisma and the flair for the dramatic and everything with those A's teams. Not talking about necessarily his Met days. Deion Sanders, absolutely on the list. Wayne Gretzky, for me, for sure, during my childhood. Of course, Michael Jordan, who's on everybody's list like this. Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds. Those are just a few off the top of my head. That clearly would be in a category for me all time of being those fireworks guys. And then there were guys who were fireworks guys when even they didn't necessarily bring it as much on the court. And I'm not saying that Dennis Rodman wasn't a Hall of Fame basketball player in what he did in his role. He's not Michael Jordan, even though they were teammates. But Dennis Rodman and everything that he did was appointment view with everything that he did. So there are different categories in all of this, right? I mean, at one point, Brian Bosworth was a guy. So there's a lot of different names you could throw out if you think about all time where you are in this category. I want to give you a sense of how I looked at the list as I put it together, and I'm going to get scrutinized, and people are going to hate this and think that some of the names are wrong and be like, how could you do this? This is not the best players, the best 10 athletes currently. All right. Whether it's my own opinion or whether it's, even if it's in sports that look, Messi is a guy who's got 450, million or whatever it is, IG followers. I mean, the guy's, it's ridiculous what a big star he is. And I'm not a soccer or football guy. It's just not my thing. Jokic is a guy who's been deserving of MVPs, finals MVPs, just became an NBA champion. He's not a fireworks guy. I don't want to say he's the antithesis of that, right? But much like Tim Duncan and others in the careers that we've watched over the years, if you're, around my age, we've seen a lot of guys who just, they haven't resonated necessarily from the excitement level, even though it's beautiful to watch what Jokic does. He's an unbelievable player. And if you want to argue he's the best player in the NBA, you could make that argument, but you're not going to make the argument he's a fireworks guy or the most exciting guy in the league because he just is not. I had a few guys who would have made my list, but with a couple of tweaks kind of fell off it. Aaron Judge would have been on my list. Currently not healthy. So it's a little bit kind of, what have you done for me lately? As in the last couple of months time periods, he's not healthy. He's not there. But captain of the Yankees, what he did last year, the size, the stature, the way he moves in the outfield, the big play, ability, everything that he brings to the table. He's a superstar. Was a guy who would have been probably in my top 10 and just missed out for me right now. Devin Booker was a guy I thought of. Now, is Devin Booker a guy who is a better player than Kevin Durant? Well, you go ahead and decide in that argument. Is he a better player than Giannis? Is he a better player than the 1, 2, I got 3 or 4 NBA guys on my list? I got 3.5, and I'll explain. Well, no, not necessarily. He's not, but he's unbelievably exciting for me to watch because the type of basketball I like to play. And I mean, it literally, it's what is it? It Book's World, I think is what Bradley Beal just said in the presser. And he's right in terms of what he's doing in Phoenix. There were a number of guys who could have been on this list, but I came up with 10, and I'm giving them to you in what I'm sure are going to be very contradictory ways in terms of why I think it is. And, well, what do you mean with that? Or what's the reasoning for this or all that stuff? And you can let it out there. And it depends what it means to you and who jumps out to you. So without further ado, I want to hear yours at Casey Stern. Here are my top 10 fireworks athletes right now at the moment. And number 10 for me is, and I'm going to the UFC, which I love, but number 10 is Israel Adesanya. This guy has everything you possibly could have to be a superstar. He has delivered an unbelievable championship run at middleweight. He has most recently in a situation that to me is one of the fireworks moments of the year in sports for sure here in 2023, in knocking out Alex Pereira after losing to him 3 times. He's always in exciting fights. That one with an unbelievable knockout. He's gotten knocked out. He's willing to jump into the fire. He's not afraid. He's unreal on social media. He's unreal if you haven't had the chance to check out the Stylebender, his channel on YouTube. He's got unbelievable flair for the dramatic, the way he dresses. I mean, everything about this dude just screams absolute star. And to me, Israel Adesanya, absolutely. When I think about fireworks athletes, again, personal list for me right now, that's a guy who fits my bill and is on my list. And I love watching that dude fight. And I love the trash talk. And I love the outfits. And I love everything. That dude is it factor written all over him. Unbelievable story. He's got an unbelievable soul in terms of just when you hear him talk. And I recommend anybody who has not heard, whether it's on my guy Ariel's show or Impulsive or the Pivot or any of the great podcast spots that he's done. I mean, it's just incredible life story. I've not gotten a chance. I didn't see it. It just premiered just for a small group of people in Tribeca, I think, a month ago. His documentary, and hopefully at some point, whether it's Netflix or somewhere, will get released. But he's got an unbelievable story. This dude is electricity personified. And for me, Adesanya, I got right now at number 10. Number 9 for me, I got Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, I'm in Atlanta, but I am not a Braves fan. So I don't want to, sit here and say that I'm biased because I'm biased to the Braves, because I am certainly no Braves apologist. However, I get to watch this guy a lot because he's local. First player with 20-plus homers and 35-plus steals before an all-star break. He's now got 39 stolen bases as I do this and 21 home runs. He's hitting over 330. He's leading the world in OPS. He's a runaway right now for MVP in the National League. And he was on his way to being that guy who was anointed as like the unbelievable young talent to watch in the big leagues. And then he got hurt and he fell behind Pinworm over in San Diego, Fernando Tatis Jr., among others, and Soto, who people, and certainly understandably, got into and all about it with what he was doing. And then he ended up going to San Diego as well. And there are always, somebody else and somebody new, including someone we all know who will be well higher up on this list, and we'll get to him out in Anaheim. And we're not talking about Mike Trout, who I don't have on this list. Mike Trout is an unbelievable baseball player. Mike Trout is for sure the best player overall of his generation. He's not the best right now because the best is on his own team. And he's not the best in terms of talent-wise because he can't do what the guy on his own team is doing. But he's had the best career, and he's been the guy to kind of be that, Bonds or whatever you want to say, Pujols of this decade, this generation, and so on and so forth. But I had him just outside the 10 because right now Ronald Acuna Jr. is a more exciting player to watch. This guy's speed, his skills, his aura and charisma about him. This is a different dude, man. I mean, this is just a different dude. And, he's got, as do pretty much everybody that I've got on this list, right? They skate that line. I'll use something Chipper Jones said to me in an interview many years ago. Skating that line of confidence and arrogance. A lot of these guys skate it overboard one way, but when you're that damn good, you could do pretty much whatever you want. So I don't love Acuna complaining about Freddie Freeman, asking about his eye black after he left. I don't love some of the stuff that he's done. I'm not, necessarily on board. And that's the case, by the way, with some of these guys that are on the list. I'm not saying I agree with everything that they've ever done in their careers and every way they've ever handled themselves. And so in one of these cases that I'm going to get to off the field. But I'm just telling you that if you're not watching Ronald Acuna Jr., you're making a mistake. Braves are the most exciting team in the game right now. They're the best team, in my opinion, in the game right now. No offense to the Rays or anybody else. And that dude's the most exciting player on the field every time he gets on it. And if Ohtani's not on it, he's going to have that to him and himself alone right now. So I got Acuna Jr. at number 9. Israel Adesanya at 10, and Ronald Acuna Jr. at number 9. Excuse me. Number 8 on the fireworks list. I haven't even seen him play Summer League yet, so hate me. But I got Wemby at number 8. Victor Wembanyama, I got him at number 8. There was a thing about Shaquille O'Neal, who I had the pleasure of getting a chance to know and work with, who's a wonderful person in addition to everything else that he has done as a player and as a broadcaster. But when I remember watching Shaq at LSU and then when he was in the Orlando Magic, his size and his dominance and his different, in every way, in his aura, in the way, and again, I'm going to use that word a lot probably today, sorry, and the way he handled himself and the way he played, they're just that different it factor about him than everybody else who was on the floor. I mean, literally made everybody else look silly. And I watched him as a kid playing against my guy, Pat Ewing, and all of that. And it was like, I mean, these guys were in like two different categories. Even the Olajuwons of the world, we're talking about that fireworks and that it factor in that I got to watch him because I got to see what he's going to do. Shaq just on a different list. Well, if you watch Wemby and you see the way his size, I mean, 7'4", 7'5", tallest guy in the league the day he walks in, the handles, the athleticism, the bag he's coming out with at that height. And then when you hear him talk, you just know this guy's off the charts in every way you could be. Now, the last guy we had somebody in the NBA who was this highly touted this way, who was seen this way, who was expected to do ... this way was LeBron James. That's how far I'm going back. Now, what made LeBron so amazing, and I've said this before, is that he actually found some way, which seemed impossible, to exceed those expectations. As high as they were, he seemed to kind of find his way above and beyond everything everybody expected him to do. But Wemby right now, he's the dude, and I'm going to watch everything he does. Now, I covered Summer League. I did play-by-play for 3 years for Summer League when I was at Turner, and it's a great event. I remember when Lonzo Ball was starting there, and I was there that year calling game. Yeah, I've seen, like, there's some excitement. There is nothing like what it's going to be the scene in Vegas with this dude. Nothing like it. And everything he does, you have to watch. Everything he says, you want to hear. Everywhere he goes, you want to go. That's the definition of fireworks. Hasn't even stepped on the NBA floor yet, and I really don't give a damn. I got Wemby at number 8 already. Number 7, now a ripe 24 years old, but it seems like he's been around forever because I remember covering and doing the draft live on TV when he was drafted. And Atlanta, certainly where I am now, with ties to that in terms of whether or not it was the right thing to have Trae Young or to have the guy I have at number 7, Luka Doncic. Am I saying that Luka Doncic is a better player than Giannis? No. Am I saying that he's a better player than Jokic? And look, these are discussions, they're conversations. I'm not saying it outright, or Embiid, or wherever you want to go who's not on my list. But Luka Doncic, who scored 50 points 4 times this year, scored 60 points at a 21-rebound game. He's got the smile. He's coming up with shots and plays that are just unbelievable. The step-back threes that he has won games with, the dramatic moments, the fourth quarters, the finishes to games, and at the age that he is, excuse me, I forget it. This guy, for me, everything he does, I got to watch. Now, I can't stand Kyrie Irving, but I'm going to watch him plenty now because he's back with the Mavs, and you can't not watch Luka. You just can't. I mean, forget it. And only 24 years old. The path and the trajectory this guy is on, I mean, different conversation, but pretty amazing as well. But Luka Doncic, for me, that's a dude I got to watch. Everything he does, I got him at 7. Fireworks athletes today. Got to see it. Appointment view. Israel Adesanya 9, Ronald Acuna Jr., Israel Adesanya 10, Ronald Acuna Jr. at 9, Wemby at 8. I got Luka at 7. And number 6, I mean, he's not old enough to be Luka's father, but he probably feels like he should be. He's been around so long. And I got LeBron. I mean, look, I no matter how long LeBron has been around, and no matter if he's not the LeBron, a lot of people are like, well, he's not the LeBron that he used to be. Does that really matter? He's 38. He's been playing forever. He's done a decade worth of finals straight. How great do you expect him to be? The fact that he has kept his body in this shape, the guy's like a cyborg. And I don't care who you are. In this world, he still, to me, has got to be top 3 most famous athlete right now in the world. That puts you on that map. I know some people are going to tell me that like a Messi will be, here or there or whatever, and that's fine. But I'm just telling you, there ain't nobody. Look, he's not MJ to me, even though he's a top 4 or 5 all-time player. I'm not saying he's Muhammad Ali. I'm thinking about guys who were kind of known and just had that thing everywhere, no matter where they were. Mike Tyson during his heyday, whether you like him or not, for sure. And he was on my fireworks list that I did my top 10 last year, all-time for me in my lifetime. But look, I don't care that LeBron's not LeBron anymore. I got him at 6. Number 5 is gonna tick some people off. And I want to say, I don't agree with everything this guy does. And I'm going to tell you that I understand how dumb this is going to sound because he currently is on a reality TV show and actually hasn't performed or done anything in his craft or sport in a very long time. But I got Conor McGregor at 5. He was able to take a show that is, and I used to love Tough. I love The Ultimate Fighter. If you're not into, the UFC, I mean, basically it helped birth it with Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin in the Wayback Machine, that time on Spike TV, million, 30 seasons that they're into this or whatever it is. And I'm telling you right now, this retread show was off the reservation. Nobody was paying attention, just on ESPN Plus. Nothing wrong with that, but that's fine. I mean, you say McGregor, and it's on ESPN. They're doing post-game shows on ESPN. Everybody's soaking up the viral content, and is he even in USADA? I mean, do we even know if McGregor's ever going to fight? We don't even know if poor Michael Chandler is ever going to fight Conor McGregor. The guy's fighting mascots, having issues. Again, who knows what? We all understand in terms of his most recent allegations and, between the Proper 12 and the Forged Stout and everything, every time this guy's in an interview, everyone in the world is watching. Every time this guy does anything, everyone in the world is watching. When he went to the BKFC event with Mike Platinum Perry and he went into the ring and all of that, he was blessing them like a gift from God because of what Conor McGregor is. And you don't have to like the guy. You don't have to understand him. You don't have to think he's ever going to fight again. Think about what you have to be on a list like this, and you're not even fighting. But think about the amount of people and dodos like me who are going to sit there and watch now every week of this ESPN, which I have on The Ultimate Fighter now, which to this, as I tape, is 0-5, right, in terms of his coaching. But everything McGregor does, you're watching the after, I don't even know what they call it, the post-game show with Dean Thomas and Rashad Evans, just to see an extra 30 seconds of Conor McGregor. It's like Prince. I mean, it's like you're watching like somebody who is a super mega star beyond whatever the sport is. He doesn't even need to fight. I got McGregor at 5. Don't know what to tell you. I got another Conor at 4. And that's a guy who is not getting enough attention. And that's a guy who wouldn't even be on a lot of people's list if they don't watch hockey, and that's Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid this past year had 153 points, 64 goals, 89 assists, 153 points. Now, look, Sidney Crosby is an unbelievable player. And after Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, who are probably the two best that I ever got to see in terms of their careers, right? And, I didn't get a chance to really enjoy Bobby Orr. When I was a kid, I grew up as a young kid growing up watching Mike Bossy. Pat LaFontaine then was my favorite player. I've watched some pretty darn good hockey. Gretzky, the best player I've ever seen. But then after that era and that ended and he and Lemieux went out, Sidney Crosby, I don't care if you like him or not. A lot of Islander fans, I got a logo behind me, certainly do not. But special talent, special career. But I never watched him with my mouth open, with the mouth drop, with the I can't understand how this guy is doing this, that Connor McDavid is bringing every day. And my God, if the Oilers can ever get enough of their act together to figure out how to go win a cup and put this guy even more on the map. Now, he's not bringing, if Connor McDavid had just a little bit, it seems like a nice guy. All right, sorry. But if he had a little bit more charisma, a little bit more of that kind of it factor, and maybe could play it up a little bit, right? I'm not saying he needs to be Trevor Zegras if you're a hockey fan who clearly wants to soak up every red light on every camera he can ever find, right? The kid with the Ducks. But if he had a little bit more charisma, man, would we be saying something. But if you listen to me because of baseball, watch me because of baseball over the years, and you don't like hockey, go right now into Twitter, go right now on the internet, type in Connor McDavid, go to videos, and go watch this dude skate. He goes 1-on-5 against entire teams, and it's some of the craziest crap you've ever seen in your life. He is absolutely one of the top 5 appointment views in all of sports right now. Not just for me, it should be for anyone. So I got McDavid at 4. Israel Adesanya at 10. Acuna Jr. at 9. Wemby at 8. Luka at 7. LeBron at 6. McGregor at 5. Connor McDavid at 4. And number 3 for me, I mean, come on. I got Mahomes. You know, we're talking about a guy who's already one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. A guy who's the best quarterback in the league, but he's a no doubt surefire Hall of Famer, top 5 quarterback of all time already. Wins another championship, ankle kind of falling off and finds a way. The vision, the amount of times where he makes throws. I mean, that's what fireworks is. This guy's making plays. You don't understand how he's doing it. That's what it was like watching Bo Jackson, like watching Kobe, like watching Ken Griffey Jr. hit, like watching Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky, some of the guys I mentioned earlier. Like Run, Ricky, Run. Watching Pat Mahomes do anything is flat out amazing. And what's crazy about it is, look, Joe Burrow, I think is probably the second best quarterback in the league, is not on this list. He's tremendous. Josh Allen, great, right? Aaron Rodgers, not that great anymore, but does it matter? I mean, look at everything he does. He's certainly got a lot of that it factor, in addition to all the great play, where he belongs on a list like this still. But what Mahomes is able to do with the vision, with his legs, with that arm, he's such a winner and such a leader and such a compete level where you watch this guy even on the sidelines after, they got a punt, and you're just like, you could feel oozing out of him that desire to go take a game over. And that's something that's a real special thing, people. And Mahomes for me at number 3. Now let's get to the top 2. I got an NBA player and I got a baseball player. I already mentioned LeBron. I already mentioned Luka. I even got Wemby. I understand that, clearly you could put Giannis, but I told you not on the list. Jokic, who was, MVP of the finals. What else can the guy do? A champion. Embiid, who was the MVP this past year. Kevin Durant. You got Booker. There's a lot of really great basketball players. But in my opinion, even more so than LeBron, who I have lower on this list, even more so than all the guys I just mentioned, there is no appointment view or no fireworks in the NBA, even today, even after the 4 titles, even after we've seen it over and over again, than there is Stephen Curry. We're talking about a dude who is 4 championship deep and has already performed above unbelievable expectations in his career, but has already performed and shown us the unbelievable 9 million times, where the craziest part about Steph Curry is we've already seen this before. There's only so many places you can shoot on the court. So he's already done it. I love Dame, who's not on this list for me either, but I love him. And by the way, people blaming him in Portland are morons. But, he could do it from the logo. Steph could shoot it from half court. He'd shoot it not looking. He could sit there and do the pregame routine. And he's already done it 1,000,000 times, right? We watch home runs at the home run derby all the time. And I'm one of the people who say it. What do we say? I already seen this before. It doesn't matter how far you hit it, right? I already watched all this. I can watch one round. I don't need to see it again. I'm not sorry. That Pete Alonso's in the home run derby, I really don't care. Sorry. That's just, and I'm a Met fan, just being honest. We've already seen these things before. A dunk contest, I've already seen dunks. I've already seen every dunk. Steph Curry is just shooting, and we have seen it 9 million times, and you tell me he don't make your mouth drop. There is something about watching that dude play and everything he does and everything he is about and the smile and the charisma, which is off the freaking charts. I mean, he also, by the way, have 55 million Instagram followers. I mean, he certainly got that it factor too. But the way everything about this guy just screams, you don't want to be, and that's what fireworks is to me for like an athlete. You don't want to be the one who hears about what Steph Curry did but didn't see it live. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the one who saw it when it happened. And Steph Curry for me is number 2. Israel Adesanya at 10. I got Ronald Acuna Jr. at 9. Wemby already at 8. Luka 7. LeBron 6. McGregor 5. I know people are going to get crazy, but I'm sorry. I mean, this guy, to me, it's higher because he's not even playing, and it's crazy that we have him at that kind of level where we would just want to watch him, everything that he does, and imagine the next time he fought. Another Connor McDavid at 4, Mahomes at 3, Steph Curry at 2, and I don't think I need to tell you where number 1 is, because number 1 shouldn't be opinion. It should be fact. The only reason that number 1 is opinion is because baseball doesn't have a far enough, scope on today's day and age with a younger audience in this country, but in the world and overall, and talent and the unforeseen and the unexpected and the impossible. If that's not Shohei Ohtani right now, then what the hell are we doing, people in sports? Ohtani's the only player right now in Major League Baseball with 30 home runs. One of 2 players with Acuna Jr. with an OPS over 1,000. He's tied for the league lead in triples. Tied for the league lead in runs batted in. And oh, by the way, he's 7-3 with a 3 ERA and leads the majors in strikeouts, leads the majors in batting average against, which I don't care if you hate batting average or not. It's 180. 180. They're hitting 180 against him. He hitting balls out of the yard more than anybody else. He running with athleticism for triples. Guy is staying healthy. I mean, that's LeBron's cyborgism kind of stuff. I mean, it is crazy. This is unforeseen. And the only reason why I think on a lot of lists, and I think he'd be, look, no matter whether you people agree or disagree with the list, I think he'd be on everybody's top 10 list right now. But I think a lot of people would not be watching the games, not be watching the sport. They'd see a highlight, but they'd know, well, that's pretty crazy, so he's got to be on the list. But if people were watching it more, and you sit here and you look at what this guy is doing, he is doing the impossible at all impossible, more so than everybody else on this or any list you could find. Because what names you going to give me I don't have? You're going to have a Messi? No, can't be above Ohtani. Yeah, Novak Djokovic, that can't be there. You got some golfer you're going to tell me, or a Tiger Woods still at this point in his career? Who are you going to give me? Joel Embiid? Like, who? There's nobody that is like this. Tyreek Hill. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of fun wide receivers and running. I love watching Saquon play. There's a lot of exciting players in a lot of sports. There ain't nobody like this dude. And he is the one of one and my number 1. Top 10 fireworks athletes today, right now, as we speak. None better than the guy doing it, at least temporarily. I won't call it Los Angeles because it's really just Anaheim for anybody who's been on the 5 freeway. You can jump on the freeway and head to us. Be part of the Unfiltered Revolution at Casey Stern. Get in on Twitter, YouTube channel, app of Spotify, everywhere you get your podcast. I want to hear from you. I want to get your comments. If you watch this, what do you love? What do you hate about this list? And what would you change? Who would be your number 1? Who's bringing the fireworks to your home, to your living room when you watch them play sports? Enjoy the fireworks with your families. Hug your loved ones. Spend time with the people that you care about. And enjoy the holiday. And I will see you on the flip side.